Hello, and welcome to our HyFlex Learning Community Workshop, Designing on the Edge, Teaching Smarter with AI. Wouldn't we all love to do that? Teaching smarter or designing smarter. I mean, clearly, many of us work as teachers, facilitators, professors, but also instructional designers. And oftentimes we do multiple roles in supporting the learning of others in intentional environments, like most of us are in the context of right now. So what I'm going to do with this little video is just basically I'm welcoming you to the workshop, and I'm going to give you a brief overview of what you can find in essentially the 3 or 3.5 kind of modules that we've prepared for you, and then that we're going to be going through in our live sessions. Or if you are participating primarily as an asynchronous learner, these are this kind of the experiences that you're going to have. Just an overview. We'll have a brief overview for each of the individual modules as it kind of rolls out here. And so essentially, what we're trying to do with this is to help you understand how to use generative AI and especially custom GPTs or custom bots of some sort. We'll be using ChatGPT probably primarily in this workshop, but you can use any kind of bot developer to do this. The idea is, how can we use generative AI to support student learning, right? Student-facing bots that support their learning process in a particular way, but also our design process. And so there's really those two major aspects to the workshop. And so it's broken into some general topics, and there's a module about general resources. But then the first major module is all about generative AI in support of learning. What's possible, what's practical, what can we do, what can we build specifically for our own learners? And the second module is about, okay, how can we build, once again, we're creating things that don't exist yet, at least not in a way that work best for us, to support our process as designers and perhaps even facilitators. But they're really focused more on the delivery, the design and delivery, design development and delivery. Once again, using custom GPTs. And the third module is all about sharing, right? So where each one of us will be building things. You might be working together with someone on this. That's certainly a possibility. But that third module is all about sharing them. So what did you build? How does it work? And why is a custom bot kind of the place to go with this? It may not be the only way to do it, but for whatever reason in your situation, it happens to be a good choice. And so that's what Module 3 is all about. And you'll find if you go into the modules for the workshop, there's an initial module that's all about getting started with some basic information about what is generative AI, how do bots work, those kinds of things. And so I encourage you to look through as much of this as you think is relevant for you before we get started with the first module, or before you kind of kick off on the first module in your own exploration. And some other resources around the HyFlex stuff as part there, because this is HyFlex Learning Community. Even though we're not talking about specifically HyFlex courses, we are talking about design that works really well in HyFlex courses, in my opinion, at least. The first module then is about the generative AI for learning. Lots of resources there about, what is a prompt, how do we use prompts, and then how do we build GPTs as well, and some examples of the things that I've built and the rationale for why I've used those that way. There's always a discussion. There'll be a discussion after each of the main sessions, Module 1, Module 2, Module 3, or Session 1, Session 2, Session 3. The second module is all about using generative AI to support course and curriculum development, kind of the teaching and facilitating side, for the focus on the design side. Once again, samples, resources that we'll be working on. You might find that what you see on screen when you look at them, the actual workshop is slightly different than this. That means because we'll be in a continuous development process and revising things as we go. Module 3 is all about show and tell, about what you've created. It's not a lot of extra resources. It's really more about our conversations about what we built, why we built them, and how we can share them with each other. One of the big hopeful takeaways for this one, from my perspective at least, is that at the end of this, you'll not only have a GPT you've built for your purposes, but you'll have access to the GPTs that others have chosen to share with you through their participation in the workshop as well. That's about it. It's 3 sessions. It's spread out. When we do live sessions for this, they'll be spread out over a week, every other day. But once again, there is a path for full asynchronous participation, which means you can take as much time as you need to go through the modules, each of the elements. And then you can also come back later. You'll have access to this most likely for at least a year. We'll see how that turns out over time. Welcome to the workshop. If you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out to me through my professional email, my HyFlex Learning email, which you can find in the site, and through the Canvas LMS networking or connection tool, or of course through just general messaging. You can search for me anywhere, I guess. So thank you very much for being here.